everyone, today I am bringing you my top 5 current favorite foundations. I've had a few questions on what foundations are in my favorite rotation at any given moment. Those are subject to change, but they've been pretty stable, and I am happy to tell you that I've not cheated. I've stuck with 5. So let me start out with the information that I think is relevant to what sort of guided me towards these 5 favorites. Important, skin type. So if you are unfamiliar, I do have dry skin and it is sensitive. Towards what? I'm not entirely sure. I have isolated glycolic acid is an ingredient in my skincare that causes irritation. And by sensitive, the reaction I get is cystic acne. So that glycolic acid is a trigger, but it's not in foundation. I don't know what it is in foundation exactly that breaks me out, but I do know that Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk was my favorite foundation until I had that reaction. So there you go, that was a tangent. But so I have dry, sensitive, somewhat acne-prone skin. It of course is aging. Everyone's skin is aging, so that goes without saying. I am 46 years old, so it is more aged than the average YouTuber. And I live in a semi-dry climate. I live in San Antonio, Texas, South Central Texas. So it's not humid, it's not arid, it's well, right now it's really humid. I need fall. Where's fall? Other important things to note, my personal preferences, which obviously are going to color my choices. I prefer a medium coverage foundation, not full. And I prefer something on the dewy, not necessarily dewy, radiant to satin finish. I don't like a matte finish, and I don't like a full-on dewy wet look because of where I live. That's already happening as I sit here in front of a window. So I don't need to make that. Nature's providing the wet look for me. So I thought I would start with what I have on my face and then work my way from most expensive to least expensive. So let's start with what I'm wearing right now. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Foundation, SPF 15. It is $44 for 1 fluid ounce. The Charlotte Tilbury website describes it as a demi-matte finish. I would say more like satin. I do have highlighter on here, and I am starting to get a little naturally glowy, as they say in the South, but it's satin. Definitely, it is not radiant. It's not matte. I have highlighter on right now. I'll list everything I have on in the description box. It is buildable coverage, definitely medium. It has a pretty decent wear time, I would say. To be fair, foundations on me tend to last a ridiculously long time compared to other people. I don't know why. I do tend to have it rub off on my chin, but that's because I tend to rest my face on my hand. But other than that, I'm very lucky with that. It does come in 20 shades. My shade is shade 2 Fair. In the summer, I bump them to shade 4. It comes in a glass bottle. Where is it? I should be showing you. It comes in a glass bottle. The packaging is beautiful. This rose gold, dare I say, copper top. There you go. It has a nice pump. Usually I wear 1.5 to 2 full pumps depending on the day. I will say sometimes this cap doesn't line up quite right, and sometimes I would recommend not picking it up by the cap. It'll pop right off. Pick it up by the base. I do prefer to apply all my foundations, especially this one, with either a flat top like buffing brush or a beauty blender. This applies well with both. I generally do not like to apply foundations with my finger or like a flat, like a paddle type brush, the traditional foundation brush. Not my personal preference. Some of the more interesting ingredients include mushroom extract, vitamin C, and what they call hyaluronic filling spheres. The idea is to make your face look plumper, fill in, or appear to fill in the lines. I don't know about that. I can tell you that this is generally the foundation I reach for more special events. I'm actually going to an opening of a restaurant after I finish filming this video, so that's why I'm wearing it now. I also tend to reach for this when I'm having a not so great skin day, which is also happening right there. So it's a beautiful foundation. It's also great for everyday wear. It definitely is a medium, I'd say, to more full coverage depending on how heavily you build it up. And I absolutely love it, and I'm just about ready to buy a new bottle, which I fully intend on doing. Okay, now going forward, we're going from most expensive to least expensive. So we're gonna go with the most expensive foundation I think I've ever bought so far. This is the La Mer, the Soft Focus Fluid Longwear Foundation, Broad Spectrum, SPF 20, $120 for 1 fluid ounce. I wear it in the shade Ivory. They have changed the numbering system, but they haven't changed the name, so it is still Ivory. There are 28 shades. Like I mentioned, I have Ivory. This is described, let me read this for you, buildable coverage, luminous finish. I would say it's not quite radiant, more of a satin finish. It is definitely long wearing. One of the more unique properties of this particular foundation that I found is that the longer I wore it throughout the day, the better it looked on my skin. I wanted very much not to like this foundation because it is expensive. It is definitely expensive. One of the more unique ingredients to this foundation is the Miracle Broth, which is basically sea kelp, which is a nicer way of saying seaweed. I don't know what that does for your skin. But it wears beautifully. It looks like skin. It is medium coverage. Like I said, glass bottle, beautiful, lovely glass bottle, beautiful, nice to use pump. From what I remember, I should go back. The Charlotte Tilbury foundation is a lot thicker. This is definitely more fluid, more runny. Not enough left to show you how runny it is. Full disclosure, if there weren't other foundations of a similar price point that I was interested in trying, I would absolutely buy this again. But there is one foundation that I have been interested in for so long that I really, really want to buy that is double this price. So I will probably not buy this again yet because I really want to buy that. We'll talk about that at the end of the video. Okay, now the next one down would have been the Charlotte Tilbury, but the next one after that is this guy. This is the Wonder Beauty Nude Illusion Liquid Foundation. I love this one too. This is the foundation I wore pretty much every day when I went to the Reward Style Conference back in April. It is $40 for 1 fluid ounce. This is described as, I gotta read this one, a filtered finish, natural, radiant finish. It is medium to full, buildable coverage. You can definitely get full coverage with this one. It is not described as full-on oil-free, but it is mineral oil-free. It has niacinamide and lotus extract. There are 12 shades. I wear it in the shade Fair Light. I should also mention I like to pick shades that are a teeny bit warmer or have a little bit more yellow in them just to give me a little more warmth to my skin. I am quite fair, pale naturally, and it just gives me a more healthy look, not quite bronzed, we're not gonna go that far, but definitely healthier look. And so I probably could get away with wearing the next shade lighter, but I do prefer Fair Light. Let's talk about this packaging. So this one's really unique because it's a squeezy tube. It's almost like a toothpaste tube, and the top is a giant, oh gosh, I'm wearing a white shirt. The top is a giant doe foot applicator, and the way they describe applying it, you can put it on 2 ways. You can take the doe foot applicator and apply, swatch it directly all over your face, which is the way I apply it, and then take my buffing brush of choice and buff it in all over my face. Or if you want full coverage, you can squeeze this onto the back of your hand, onto some sort of tray, squeeze the desired amount out, and then, dip your brush into that and smear it all over your face, and really get a good amount all over your face. It can get a little messy. When you pull, I'm gonna keep this really far away from me. When you pull this out, it can splatter. It's a little liquidy in there, and because the opening of the tube is quite large. So that is one thing to think about. If you are fully dressed when you're applying your makeup, just point the hole away from you. This coverage, the finish is so beautiful. It is so radiant. It is incredibly flawless. It is not something I would recommend if you have oily skin. You will look oily and glowy. So definitely more for the dry skin types. Like I said, it is flawless. It is definitely buildable. So it's one of those things that after you have all your makeup on, the day's going on, you want to touch up to go out for the evening. You can use this like a concealer as well. You can take your doe foot applicator, touch up your little spots that have worn off or something's poking through your makeup, dot it on the places that you need it, pat it in with your finger or a brush or what have you, and it's gorgeous. This is one of those things, definitely not finger friendly to apply full face, but goes on great with a brush. I have put it on with like a flat top kabuki brush, with BK Beauty's foundation brush, with a beauty blender, with a combination of those. And the only time, like I said, I do use my finger to pat it in is when I use it more as a spot concealer. This is a beautiful foundation. It's actually my second bottle. I love it. All right, with being only $1 less than the previous foundation, this is the next on the list. This is the Too Faced Born This Way foundation. This has been a favorite for a while, but it hopped back up onto the top 5 just recently. I kind of pulled it out of the back of the group and retried it recently. I was like, oh my God, my skin looks amazing with this. This is just one of those go-to foundations. Let me tell you a little bit about Too Faced Born This Way. It is $39 for 1 fluid ounce glass bottle with a pump. There are 35 shades. Now this is the shade Pearl. As you can see, it looks pretty yellow back here. I'm not convinced this is actually my shade. I might need to go in the store, and it's carried in a whole bunch of stores, Sephora, Ulta, Nordstrom, all over the place. I might need to take another look at the shade chart and double check on that one. I'm thinking maybe seashell, but it works for now. What can I tell you about this? Medium to full coverage, definitely more of a radiant finish. I put this on the other day. I hadn't put any other makeup on, and I was like, did I put on highlighter? Because as the light hit my face, there was definitely a gleam to the planes of my face. So this has a satin-ish finish, but like I said, when light hits it, you will get a reflection. So it's a beautiful finish, oil-free. It has coconut water, alpine rose to brighten, hyaluronic acid. So interesting, useful ingredients. Love the shade range. I think of all the foundations that I'm talking about today, this one definitely has the largest range for all different kinds of skin tones, the matching concealer to go with it. I don't know what else there is to say about it. It's just one of those, it's like a workhorse. You can just, you may stray away from it. I have strayed from it, and I find myself always coming back to it. So it stays in my top 5. And then the last one I want to talk about, I've talked about a lot on this channel, and the first time I talked about it, I panned this thing. I gave it the worst review. And you know that I have. I've talked about how I've changed my mind. It is also the least expensive. It is $15.99 full price for 1 fluid ounce. It is frequently on sale. It was on rollback at Walmart recently. I got it for like $11.99, and yes, I'm talking about the Physicians Formula Healthy Foundation SPF 20 Brightening Complex for all skin types. I currently am wearing it in the shade, what is this, LC1. There are 24 shades. They have released new shades, and I want to try its FN3. I mean, this one is fine, but I kind of want to try some of the new ones. It's Fair Neutral is what that one is. Fair Neutral 3. Kind of want to see what that one looks like on me. But let's get back to this. This is long wearing. It's a lightweight formula with medium coverage. It has definitely a satin finish. More similar, not in weight, but in finish to what I have on right now. It is actually very, very, very similar to the La Mer in finish, but not in price point. Hyaluronic acid, vitamins A, C, and E, and a brightening complex of some herbal extract that is supposed to brighten. What's bizarre about this is, one, I completely changed my mind about how I felt about this after watching so many other YouTubers that I very much respected rave on and on about this. I thought, okay, yes, it smells like paint. I mean, it does. Oh, God, it smells horrible. But here's the thing. Who smells their foundation? Who actually does put their nose to it? I mean, I'm not... So as I'm applying it, maybe I'll get like a waft of it. That's like not even a second. And then, yes, the doe foot applicator, not my favorite way to apply foundation. Also, the Wonder Beauty has the same thing. Get over it. I got over it. The actual foundation itself, once I got past my issues, it's beautiful. And here's the weird thing. Of all the foundations I've tried in my little YouTube career, that claim to do this and that for your skin and have all of these skincare ingredients, and I've always rolled my eyes at it. It wasn't until I started wearing this thing every single day for weeks on end, pretty much, that my skin actually got better. Like, there's got to be something to this. You know, the price point, you can't beat that. And yeah, you know, I still don't love the smell, and I'm not crazy about the doe foot applicator, but my skin loves it. It wears beautifully. It's got a decent shade range. It's easily available. When I do travel, if I should run out of it, if it should break, if it should get lost, you know, there's a drugstore pretty much everywhere you go, at least in the United States. So out of all the ones that I've showed you for everyday use, more often than not, this is the guy that I'm picking up. But I do want to talk about two other foundations that are not on my favorites list, but I want to talk about. The first one is this guy. L'Oreal PR sent this to me. I haven't tried these since they were first released, like in high school or college. It's the L'Oreal True Match foundations. Now they sent me two shades that are not quite right. 0.5 Fresh Ivory and C2, Neutral 0.5 and C2 Natural Ivory. I tried the C2. It was okay, but not a perfect match. I'm really impressed by how this looks once it's on. I want to work with it a little more, but my first impression was this could be quite a good foundation. I need to go back to the drugstore and find a better match and play with it a little bit more. But I'd love to hear your insight if you've used this. I know Angie from Hot and Flashy really, really likes this too, and her skin type is very different than mine. So I'm kind of impressed that we both like the same foundation. One that I also want to pick up from the department store, different price range, is the new Shiseido one that Lisa D1 just raved about in a recent video. I love the Shiseido Synchro Skin Glow. I ran out of it in my shade N2. There's a newer version, I believe. I want to check that one out, so before I go repurchase, that's one on my list. And then, as always, I've been lusting after the La Prairie, I can't remember the full name of it. Was it the Skin Caviar foundation? It comes in a pot with the concealer on the top. It's $240. I've been wanting it for years now. Still trying to figure out a way to justify that ridiculous purchase. I've tried samples of it a couple of times. It looks like your skin has come from the heavens, as it should. Still trying to figure out a way how I could possibly justify that and wear that. It's hard. So anyway, those are my current favorites, my wish list, and what I'm looking to purchase next. I would love to hear from you. If you have a similar skin type to mine, what are your favorites? And most importantly, if your skin is the exact opposite of mine, please share your favorites below so those watching who are oily skin, who have young skin, and all those opposites of me can look through the comments and maybe find something that would work for them. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having an awesome day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.